because I am a Chelsea fan, and I haven't really done a video yet actually this season talking specifically about Chelsea, but usually I tend to do quite a few videos actually about Chelsea. Usually they're more rants because of how bad we've been in the last couple of years. But I mean, gladly, I've not done any rants. I've not done any videos about Chelsea. The only time I really talk about them is in the game week reviews. So I thought, why not? We're about halfway into the season now, approaching Christmas. Let's do a bit of a review as a Chelsea fan. My thoughts on the season so far. Just gonna sort of give my general thoughts. I'm gonna talk about what I've liked, what I've disliked. I'm gonna talk about Enzo Maresca. I'm gonna go for each player as well, and I'll give my verdict on what I think they've done so far this season, if I've been impressed or not. And I'll talk about sort of my expectations for the rest of the season, and also I'll talk a little bit about the title race. So yeah, hope you guys do enjoy. If you want to see me do this for some other clubs, I could do this for some of the Big Six clubs, a video dedicated to them, go a bit more in depth, then please let me know in the comments below, and by liking the video. But without further ado, yeah, let's get into it. So, in terms of my overall thoughts on Chelsea so far this season, I mean, very, very pleased. Very, very pleased with how the season has gone so far. I couldn't have really asked for too much more. You see, going into this season, I did not have a lot of optimism, like a lot of Chelsea fans, to be honest. We ended last season pretty well under Poch. Poch then left. It was quite a turbulent season. I wasn't necessarily opposed to that. But then we went ahead and brought in Enzo Maresca, who had 1 year of management in the Championship. Was a bit of an odd appointment, to be honest, a bit uninspiring to say the least. And we made some decent signings, but it wasn't anything to be blown away by. So I think the mood going into the season, me personally, wasn't really the most optimistic. My expectations going into the season was to get back in the top four. We haven't been in the Champions League for a while, and we needed to. But I did not necessarily expect Enzo Maresca to deliver that. I thought, that's what we should be aiming for. However, given he's a bit of a rookie manager, we finished like 5th, 6th. That's, I guess, okay for him, but my anger would be more directed towards the boards. Yeah, I didn't really have too much hope, but too much optimism going into the season. But very, very quickly, I started to build some hope, build some optimism, some positivity, and yeah, we have really surprised me. We've been a lot better than I thought we would be. It does look as if we fairly comfortably will get in the top four, partly due to the other teams in the top four race being absolutely abysmal, but also because we've been really, really good, and potentially various talks of a title and all that. But yeah, just qualifying for the top four would be a good season for us, and overall I've been very, very pleased as a Chelsea fan, evident by the fact I've not had to make any rant videos this season. Very, very pleased about that. Now, in terms of what specifically I've liked this season, I think the most refreshing thing and the most important thing is the consistency. We've been super, super consistent in terms of our results this season. One of the main issues with Chelsea over the last 2 to 3 years really has been you just never know what you're going to get with them. You never know. 1 minute we would pull off a sensational performance. It would be like, I don't know, 11 Forest at home, we were just super inconsistent. And it was super frustrating as a Chelsea fan because you knew there was ability, you knew there was talent in the team, yet we just never got to see it on a consistent basis. And yeah, we really struggled to consistently beat the smaller sides. However, this season we have managed that. It's very refreshing to go into a Chelsea game and know what I'm gonna get. Even when we don't play well, I know what to expect. So far, we've not really put in a performance where we're like a 2 out of 10, and last season I can name like about 15 performances last year where we were below a 2 out of 10. So the fact that our level always remains at least a minimum 4 out of 10, and we've been able to beat these smaller teams fairly comfortably, you know, dispatching of your Southamptons, beating your Leicesters, beating your Bournemouth teams, Brentfords. These are the games last year where I would go into with a bunch of nerves and be like, oh, actually, I don't know what Chelsea's going to turn up here. Are we going to win it? Are we not? This year I'm going into these games like, yeah, we're probably going to win. And if we don't win, we'll probably be fairly unlucky. But at worst, it'll just be a narrow loss. We're not going to get absolutely humiliated or anything. So that consistency this season is something which I've really, really liked. Of course, the attack has been sensational as well. I mean, we have just been so entertaining to watch this season. I'm sure if you're a neutral, watching Chelsea must be super fun because it's goals galore, both from us and conceding. But yeah, the attack has just been superb. I really like the way Maresca's sort of given the players sort of individual freedom in the attack. He's not really one of those managers who are like, okay, here's the structure, here's how you're going to score the goal, and it's like, I don't know what to expect. It's a bit chaotic when we get into the final third, which is good, which is why our attack's been really good so far, because, you know, saying like, oh, okay, this is exactly how Chelsea score their goals, there's not really any of that. It's a bit unpredictable, and it's really exciting. It's fun to watch. It's got the best out of a lot of our key individuals, of course, so like Cole Palmer doing fantastic, and yeah, in general, the attack has been superb this season. Another thing which I've really liked from this Chelsea team so far is the depth. The depth. You know, going into this season, I had a lot of question marks over a lot of players, so I didn't necessarily know how good our depth was. But as the season progressed, pretty much everyone in the squad has been contributing their part, and we have some really good depth. Last season, I would look onto the bench, and I mean, forget the bench, let alone the starting 11. I was not happy with, you know, like on the attack, for example, on the wings, it would be like, okay, you starting Mudryk or Sterling, and I'm like, I don't want to start either of them. Nowadays, Chelsea have got Neto, who could play there. We've got Madueke, we've got Sancho, we've got Joao Felix, all players who have been performing, who are doing really well. And yeah, this competition for places is fantastic. Keeping players on their toes, we've been able to rotate the squad in and out. We've got options off the bench. It's very refreshing to, you know, when we need to go look to the bench and we see players like Nkunku on there, Joao Felix, you can change games single-handedly. So the depth has been fantastic. Of course, we've got like sort of two teams. We've got the Conference League boys, and then we got the Premier League boys. And the Conference League boys, of course, as I would expect, have been killing that competition. But yeah, the depth is really, really good. I think lastly, in terms of things I've liked from this season, the home form. The home form was something which has been a real issue in the last couple of years. Stamford Bridge was a far, far too easy place to come to and get 3 points. Far too easy. Partly due to, I guess, us being a bad team and then that reflecting onto the fans being annoyed and being angry at the team. But either way, teams, when they looked at Chelsea away on the calendar and they weren't scared, they were like, yeah, you know what, we could probably nick something here. To be honest, now this season, I think teams are starting to realise, like, oh, actually, that's kind of a hard game. I think the best example of this, actually, I have a Brentford fan, who's one of my friends. One of my friends is a Brentford fan, and Brentford typically do very, very well against us. They're a bit of a bogey team. They've gone to Stamford Bridge and beat us the last couple times. They usually do pretty well. So when he saw, we were playing them on a weekend, I was speaking to him and he was like, yeah, you know what, we got a pretty good record at Stamford Bridge. It's one of those places we can't go up against. I reckon we can probably win, we could probably get a draw. He was really, really confident, and I was saying to him, like, yeah, maybe, but this isn't the same Chelsea as before. And he was like, oh, whatever. After the game, he said to me, he was like, yeah, you guys have changed. He was like, yeah, this ain't the old place before. He was like, you guys absolutely destroyed us and were brilliant. And yeah, at home we've won. I think besides the Man City loss, that's our only loss of the season now. Was that the first game of the season? But we won pretty much most games, and importantly, whenever we win titles, we always rely on the bridge. The bridge is notoriously one of the toughest places to go to. Think of when we won the league under Conte, amazing at home. Mourinho, I mean, his first spell, right? Like, I think Liverpool might have beat our record now, but at one point it was we held the longest unbeaten home streak in the Premier League. When it was back for a second spot again, amazing. It was a fortress. So the fact that we've sort of got the bridge back to being a tough place for teams to come and collect 3 points is really, really good to see. Really, really good to see. Now, what have I not really liked so far this season, or think could be improved? I mean, there's not too much, but I think the main thing, of course, is the defence. The defence has not filled me with any confidence this season, particularly at the start of the season. The defence looked like a real problem. It was very, very shaky. We're conceding a lot of goals and far too open at the back. I'll get on to it, but goalkeeper Sanchez prone to an error, the centre backs prone to an error, and defensively we were really, really poor. Now, I will say, as the season has gone on, we have definitely got better, and we're at a point now where the defence is okay. Like, the defence is okay, but it still doesn't, fill me with a bunch of confidence. We're still not amazing defensively, and that is one thing we definitely need to improve on in the second half of the season. The attack is great, and we have managed to outscore most teams we play, but there are going to be games where we are unable to outscore opponents, and we need to rely on the defence. And can we rely on the defence? I don't know. It remains to be seen right now. That's something which I think definitely needs to be improved on in the second half of the season. Also, in terms of the attack, it's kind of linked. I was saying, our attack has been able to outscore teams, but there's many games where it hasn't been able to outscore teams, and I do think we have a little bit of an over-reliance on Cole Palmer at points this season. Again, I think it's something we just slowly got better and better across the season. As the season's gone on, we've become less reliant. A lot of other attackers are, of course, stepping up, but still, Palmer is a world-class footballer, but still, we cannot solely be relying on him, because we have run into a bit of trouble this season already due to that. Particularly in those bigger games where Cole Palmer United games, the Liverpool game wasn't, the most effective, and we ended up not winning any of those and struggled really in both of those games to create tons and tons of clear-cut opportunities. So that's something which I think, again, we're slowly getting better at, but we do need to sort of adapt our game to be a little bit less reliant on Cole Palmer in the attack, try and create chances without him, try and perform, without him. But, I mean, of course, Cole Palmer is a great player, so most of the time he is going to be amazing and it's going to be fine. It's just some of those games, those going to be the games that we want to go for the title. We need to be those fine margins. So really the defence and maybe a little bit of the attack is some areas of improvement, but overall I've been mightily impressed. Now in terms of Enzo Maresca, it's kind of weird because my take on him is, firstly, I'm not 100%, I don't know yet if Maresca is gonna be the guy to take Chelsea back to where they belong, take us to winning Premier Leagues, winning Champions Leagues, competing for the major honours. I don't know yet. It's still too early to tell. We're only about halfway into his first season. It could all collapse from here, so I don't want to jump on the back when this guy's the messiah, he's the one. I'm not going to do that. But also, I think Maresca, for me, when I look at what he's done so far, I think he's just been sort of solid in pretty much every department. Don't take this the wrong way, but Maresca hasn't done anything yet to wow me. He's not done anything where I've been like, wow, Enzo Maresca is incredible. His tactics is nothing where I'm like, oh my days, Maresca is a tactical genius. They're just solid, good tactics. He has a simple plan. As I mentioned, we have structured plan with the inverted fullbacks and everything. But then when we sort of get to attack, he allows a bit of individual freedom, which I really like. So it's a solid tactical plan, but again, I've never looked at his tactics so far and be like, oh my days, this guy's a genius, he's amazing. Wow, what a little tactical thing by him. His in-game management is pretty decent again. Every time, in terms of this season so far, in terms of his in-game management, his substitutions, I'm like, yeah, pretty decent. He makes decent subs which can change the game. He tweaks some things here and there. But again, it's nothing like, wow, this guy has got the best in-game management in the world. But here's the thing, that's not a criticism. That's perfectly fine. Because when you have a talented group of players, all you need is a manager who can just be pretty decent and pretty good at most areas. The problem with Potter is they were pretty decent at some areas, but then they really lacked in other areas. So, for example, Graham Potter, man management, he was really struggled to deal with the squad, couldn't really do it. That really let him down. Pochettino, I mean, firstly struggled a bit tactically to get his ideas across, and his in-game management was really poor. Then he eventually got his ideas across, and that's where things started to improve. Whereas Maresca has just been good in pretty much every department. The only sort of thing which I'm like, okay, yeah, Maresca is very good at this, is man management. His man management skills are clearly very good. The sort of chemistry, the happiness, in the dynamics in the camp look really good. Obviously I'm not there, so I don't know, but clearly you can see the players are together, the players fight for everything, he's got the players motivated. Another thing as well, which Poch didn't manage to deal with, with the big squad we have, keeping everyone happy, keeping everyone fit on their toes. They couldn't really do it. Maresca has managed to do that. He's managed to keep everyone happy, managed to keep everyone, players, that's fine. If you have a talented group of players with a manager who is good, not world class, good, then you're going to get really good results. So yeah, I don't know, I'm not going to sit here, as I said, and say Maresca's the one, he's the guy, but I have been impressed with him so far. He's done the basics right, and I'm very pleased with that. Right, let's talk a little bit about the players. Let me go through the players so far and give my thoughts on how they've been doing. So, Robert Sanchez, yeah, not great. I'm not the biggest Robert Sanchez fan. In general, I was worried him being our starting keeper going into the season, and well, he hasn't really filled me with too much confidence so far. His distribution is very dodgy at points. Now, the thing with Sanchez is he can be really good sometimes. He can make some really good saves. He can have some really good games. It's just you always know there's some sort of dodgy error coming. There's always a howler in him, and it doesn't fill you with too much confidence, to be honest. I do think Jorgensen, I think, has been really good in the Conference League games. I think he should be given a chance in the league to prove himself, because Jorgensen has been really solid, and I think obviously it's Conference League, so I don't know what he'll be like in a Premier League game, but I think he's a lot more calmer, a bit more composed. I haven't really seen him do any big errors or anything. So yeah, I'd like to see Jorgensen eventually come in for Sanchez. Reece James, I mean, he's just been injured again. I mean, so frustrating. Malo Gusto. Now Gusto's a interesting one because I think he struggled at first to adapt to the Maresca system. Naturally, he didn't really seem like a natural fit for the system with the old inverted fullbacks. Gusto excelled last season as sort of a flying, overlapping fullback, but I think as the season's gone on, Gusto has got better and better, and is now in a role where he's pretty decent. He's been pretty decent. Still not amazing, but yeah, I've been pretty pleased with how he's improved as the season's gone on. Disasi, Badiashile, I mean, I haven't really played enough for me to really judge them. They've been okay. Dawson, though, I've been really impressed with. Very, very composed at the back, bit of a leader at the back. Yeah, I think whenever he's played, he's looked. I think sometimes we can be a little bit chaotic at the back, but he brings that calmness to the defence, and I think it's been really solid. Levi Colwill, I think, started a little bit poorly, a little bit poor, but he has really, really grown into the season. He's got so much better, and I think we're really starting to see the best of Colwill now. The last couple games, he has been absolutely superb at the back, and he is one of the reasons why defensively we are getting better as a team, because Colwill is now, starting to really come into his own. He has really, really improved as the season's gone on. I think it's going to be crucial in the second half of the season. Wesley Fofana, really disappointing because he was actually pretty decent when he was in the team. I was pretty impressed with him, but then sadly got injured again, which is really, really disappointing. Marc Cucurella, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. He ended last season pretty well, had a great Euros. I was hoping he's going to continue that into this season, and he just has. He has been superb so far this season. Yeah, really, really happy with him, and finally starting to see the best of Cucurella now. Renato Vega hasn't really played enough, but I will say it's been a solid signing, a real good sort of utility man in the squad. Moises Caicedo, oh my days, he has been exceptional. Arguably our best player so far this season. Best midfielder in the Premier League right now. He has been electric. He has been so good this season. Just everywhere on the pitch. Yeah, he has been crucial to our success. Absolutely crucial, and yeah, I now see why we paid so much for Caicedo. I now see it. Lavia has been pretty good, but again, injuries, fitness is a bit disappointing to see, which is annoying, but when he's been on the pitch, I've been fairly impressed by Remy Lavia. Enzo Fernandez, like a lot of players, started off the season quite poorly. A lot of us were thinking, he wasn't really in the squad. When he was playing, wasn't great. A lot of us thinking maybe his time in this system, he doesn't fit in. He's finished. But complete 180, has adapted to the system, has learned this new role, playing more advanced, and he's taken to it like a duck to water. Absolutely superb recently, and yeah, we're really seeing the best of Enzo right now. So yeah, great improvement by him. Dewsbury, has been quite disappointing in terms of he's just not played many minutes. He really hasn't. I didn't know when he was going to play when we signed him. I was a bit confused why we did. And yeah, I've sort of been vindicated in that. Cole Palmer, of course, don't need to say much about him, just absolutely incredible. Noni Madueke, good in moments, but I'd like to see a little bit more consistency from him. I'd like to see a little bit more consistency. He's had his games, for example, like Wolves, where scoring a hat-trick, absolutely electric. But he also has other games where he's just really poor, sort of ghosting. And then he has other games where he's great. Like, I just want to see a little bit more consistency from him, because I know there's a fantastic player in there. Pedro Neto, yeah, really good. Really good so far. Settled in fairly nicely. Jadon Sancho, same thing. Kind of surprised me how good he's been. I was not hot on that signing when it happened, but he's been really good. Joao Felix, yeah, same thing. Good. Wasn't too hot on that signing, but he's done really well. I would like to see him get more minutes when he's back from injury, as when he plays he has been superb. And Nkunku, again, good. I would like to see get some more minutes, because when he plays he is fantastic. For us, Madrid, obviously he's got his whole thing with the drugs ban now, which isn't ideal, but yeah, Madrid hasn't really played too much, and he's been in that Conference League set of players, and he's done okay in there, but yeah, him being out with a drugs ban really isn't going to affect us, I don't think. And Nicholas Jackson, yeah, fantastic, great improvement from last year. Yeah, probably our most improved player, Right, so now let's finally talk a little bit about my expectations, my thoughts on the rest of the season. So currently we are actually in second place, only 2 points off the top of the table. We have a game in hand, which something, if you told me at the start of the season we would be in this position, I would be like, what? I would have put your hand up for it. So we're in a great position right now. But for me, the expectation, as I mentioned, the expectation was getting top 4. That is still the expectation. The expectation is to get top 4. If we get top 4, that will be a good season. And that is what I'm expecting. But, given the situation we're in right now, of course, currently we are technically in a title race. But I think it's very clear. I don't want to put the pressure on them, and I think Maresca and the players don't also have the pressure. They're kind of in a similar boat where the aim is top 4. We're going to try and get top 4, and if anything else happens, then that's a bonus, but our aim is to get top 4 and I think, in the position we're in with Manchester City, the way they've been playing, getting top 3 should probably now be the aim. And that would be a fantastic first season to finish in the top 3. Obviously, if we can win the league, that would be nuts. But I'm expecting us to win the league. Can we win the league? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think we can. I think, those sort of in the defence, which I mentioned, being a little bit of a problem, unless we can really shore up at the back, I don't think we can win the league. That being said, because because of the fact the other teams around us are quite inconsistent. Of course, there is a chance we can, but personally, I don't think we. I'm not sure we're capable. I'm not sure we're capable just yet to do it. Particularly, even like if it comes to like we're in it with 5 games to go. I think at that point, that's where I would be like, yeah, I think that would be where we might grumble with the young, inexperienced players who have never been in this situation, dealing with the big games, the pressures. I don't know if they can do that, because right now they're sort of playing with no fear, no pressure, just balling out and having fun. So yeah, that's why for me, I'm enjoying being in a title race right now, but I'm not expecting us to win the league. I don't think we'll win the league, but I want us to get top 4, ideally a top 3 finish, and I'll be more than satisfied. But yeah, that's really all I've got to say about Chelsea. Very, very pleased about the season so far. Hopefully we can maintain this form, and who knows, maybe it can be a incredible first season under Maresca. But let me know your guys' thoughts on Chelsea so far this season, whether you're a fan or a neutral or a rival. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in another